everyone. I will just introduce myself as we wait for the 4 p.m. time. I'm Krissy, and we'll be going through a 60-minute vinyasa flow for all levels. To set yourself up, you may want to find 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can use some thick books or any sort of box that could elevate the floor. They're not necessary, but they are useful in some of our poses. And then also another thing would be just maybe a blanket or some sort of soft surface that you can use to cushion underneath your seat or any of our poses that require some more softening. So we'll get started in a nice seated position, just arriving on our mats. You can close the eyes down, have the palms face upward or down on your knees, and just begin tuning in, bringing awareness inward and finding the calming sound of your breath. And on your next inhale, just bring a gentle constriction to the back of your throat for the audible sounding breath of Ujjayi. So breathing in through the nose, just make that gentle sound. Pausing at the top and gently releasing. And at the bottom of your exhales, just gently hug the belly in and just squeeze all the air out so that you're completely empty. Finding your own rhythm, but just slowing it down. And on an inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Gaze can look towards the sky. And hands come through heart center, thumbs meeting at the chest. You can bow the head. And if you have any sort of intention that you have for your practice, you can silently do that now. And if no intention comes to mind, then I invite you to make the intention of balancing effort and ease throughout our practice and our day, and finding our sweet spot of stability and strength, as well as softening and ease. So you can bring the feet out and gently guide them behind. We'll sit back onto heels. And then on an inhale, we'll come off onto the heels, onto the knees, reach the arms up. And exhale, left arm comes down to your side, reach the right arm up and overhead. Come back through to center, right arm reaches down, left arm reaches up and overhead. Breathe into the side body. Maybe the heart points for the sky, you reach back a little bit. And then come back down onto the heels. Circle the shoulders back once, twice, 3 times, and then reach back and up. This time the right arm reaches back. Cradle the head and bend the elbow And reach that heart towards the sky as the left arm comes down towards the mat, shining the heart up. You can really reach the chest upward towards the sky as you reach the heart up. Come back through the center. You can switch the arms and then reach the right arm down. Reach the left side body towards the ceiling, opening up through the chest, hugging in through the belly. And come back through the center. Both hands now cradling the back of head. Sit back on the heels. And then just tuck the chin towards the chest and gently roll yourself down into a rock pose. So you're nice and compact, like a little ball. The arms can rest by the sides. And just return to your breath here. And then come back up onto the knees. Reach the arms up overhead. And then dive the arms forward, emptying out in cat pose. Bringing the belly button to the spine, rounding yourself. And then coming through a neutral tabletop position, shoulders over wrists. Hips are over the knees. And then walk the hands about a hand print forward. Hug the elbows in and lower your chest and your chin to the mat. Slide on through for baby cobra. Squeezing the shoulder blades, lifting the heart towards the sky. And then sinking the hips back for child's pose. One breath here. Coming back up onto the knees, reach the arms up overhead. And then dive the arms forward, emptying out. Cat pose. One breath. Filling up in cow. And then again, lowering chest, chin to the mat. Snaking through for a baby cobra. Lifting the heart towards the sky. And then sinking back, child's pose. Maybe you sway the hips side to side. Giving the forehead a massage. And then one last time, rise up, reach the arms overhead, up onto the knees. Coming forward, emptying out in cat, rounding through the spine, pressing the shoulder blades away from one another. Coming through a cat pose, reaching the chest towards the sky, the sit bones point high. And then coming forward, knees, chest, chin, lowering. Bringing the belly down to the mat, lifting the heart up for cobra. And then sinking it back for child's pose. Cycle of breath here. And then coming forward to all fours. I want you to just sway the hips over to the right. And then lift the tail towards the sky. Gaze goes over the right shoulder. Come back through the center. Empty it out in cat. Round through the spine. And then hips go over and to the left. Tail points towards the sky. Gaze goes over the left shoulder. And then come back through center, rounding in cat. Empty. Hug that belly button in towards the spine. And then hips go over to the right. Tail points toward the sky. Gaze follows. And then empty it back in cat. Take that at your own pace now, finding intuitive movement. You can rock forward and back with it. Really just warming up through the spine Maybe you're taking full body circles. And then we'll meet back in neutral tabletop. Hug the belly in, reach the right leg back out behind you. And then begin to bend at the knees so that the right foot is flexed and pointed towards the sky. And then bring that right knee up as high as you can onto the right tricep. Tap it, lower it, back through center, and then back out behind. So we're making nice circles like our knee is the pen point. And we're just drawing those circles with the right leg. Finding room in the hip, opening through that right side. And then take one more circle and then place that right foot outside of the right hand. Sink the hips forward. You can come onto fingertips and then bring the chest up high, sinking the hips. And then rock a little bit with it back and forth, straightening through the right leg. You can adjust so that the right hamstring is not straining. Remember, still staying active in the glutes and the belly so that we're not dumping into the hips. Really pressing through those right toes. And then plant both hands back down. Step it back into tabletop. And then we'll once again lower, chest, chin to the mat, elbows hug in, belly comes down, hips come down, heart lifts for a cobra. And then we'll come back into our tabletop position. Reach the left leg back straight out behind you. Keep those hips square so that the tendency here is for the left hip to raise. You want to just keep those square. Then you can bend at the knee using your glutes and your hamstrings. Flex that foot and then take some circles on that left side, like your left knee is the pen and you're just really coming forward, back out behind, out into the side, and just really find the space in that left hip. Where can you breathe into to really find and release any tension, any gripping, any sticky spots? And then take one more circle before planting that left foot outside of the left hand. Come up onto fingertips, reach the chest up towards the sky, and feel that opening in the right psoas muscle as well as the left hip flexor. And then you can begin to rock back and forth through that left leg, bending and straightening, flexing through the foot at all times. Never pushing yourself. We're still warming up through these joints, just finding where our limits are and kind of breathing into those areas. And then coming back through, can reach back through a tabletop. Once again, coming down, knees, chest, chin, hugging the sides of the elbows to the waist. Hips come down, heart lifts. And then come back through the tabletop. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up and back, coming into our first downward facing dog of the practice. So you want to have a nice V shape in the body, really pressing through all fingertips, pressing down through the toes, The heels are coming towards the mat, but it's okay if they don't touch. That's not our goal. And we're lifting through the inner arches of the feet by pressing down through the big toes. If you need to, keep a generous bend in the knees. Otherwise, the sit bones point high towards the sky. The elbows are magnetized towards one another. And you can pedal it out here. Maybe you sway the hips left and right. Coming back to the sound of your breath. Then come high onto the balls of the feet and either step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale here, flat back, halfway lift. Hands can come to the shins or the thighs or the floor out in front, but keep a nice long spine and a neutral neck, hugging through the belly. And then forward fold all the way down, keeping a bend in the knees if this hurts the hamstrings. Keeping the feet close together, walk the hands over to the right, bend through the right knee, and really feel the twist here. And then walk the hands back through to center and over to the left, bending through the left leg and the left knee. Walking the hands back through center. Have a bend in the knees, weight in the heels. Rise up, arms come overhead, Urdhva Gustasana. And then arms released by the sides, Tadasana, mountain pose. So establishing our Tadasana, you want to have the shoulders over the hips, hips over the ankles, and feel this one line of energy coming from the root, the base of the feet, all the way through the crown of the head, hugging in through Uddiyana Bandha, that's our belly lock, lifting up through the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha, and having a gentle tuck of the chin for our Jalandhara Bandha. So feeling all of those points, standing evenly through the feet. And then we'll reach up and overhead, Urdhva Gustasana, greeting the sun for our sun salutes. And then diving down, forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway. Hands can come out in front or to the shins. And then planting the hands, bringing weight to the left foot, stepping the right foot out for low lunge. Can rock with it here. And then planting the hands, stepping the left foot back, coming into plank position. We'll just stay here for a breath, keeping the shoulders over the wrists, hugging the belly in. And then you can lower halfway or all the way to the belly for Chaturanga, hugging the elbows in. Heart shines forward, feet come flat for an upward facing dog or cobra, pressing through the tops of the feet and through the hands. And then rolling over the toes, hips come up and back, downward facing dog. Sigh it out. 3 rounds of breath. And on an inhale, come high onto the toes and then walk or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Forward fold, exhale. Weight in the heels, rise up, inhale. Exhale, arms release. Staying in motion, inhale, arms overhead. Forward fold, exhale. halfway lift. Inhale. Hands plant. Now step the right foot back. Step the left foot back and rock with it for your low lunge. Again, getting heat in our joints, finding any movements to really open you up. And then plant the hands, step that right foot back to meet the left, coming into plank. Can lower all the way or halfway, Chaturanga. Upward facing dog with the hips lifted off the mat. Downward facing dog, exhale. A few rounds of breath. Maybe the sound of ujjayi at the back of the throat. Inhale, rise high on the toes, bend the knees, step or float to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Weight in the heels, rise on up, upward salute. Arms release. Last sun A. Inhale, reach it overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant both hands. Step or leap back to plank pose. Lowering halfway, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing or Cobra. Roll over the toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Sigh it out. Rise high onto the toes. Make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Heel toe your feet together and have a little bit of space between your heels. And then sink the hips down like you're sitting in a chair. Reach the arms overhead. One breath here. Chair pose. Hug the belly in. Shoulders come up towards the ears. And really feel the energy leaving through each fingertip. And then rise high, Tadasana. Arms come by the side. Moving into our sun B's. Reach the arms overhead. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step the right foot back into a low lunge. Keep the right hand planted. Reach the left arm up for twisting lunge. Offer your heart towards the sky. Exhale, lower the left hand back down for a low lunge. And then plant the back heel down so that it's parallel to the short edge of the mat. Keep the left hand planted. Reach the right arm up for side angle. If this doesn't work for your hip, you can bring the left forearm to the left thigh and open up this way. Few breaths here. Really magnetize the feet towards one another. Feel the feet planted firmly through the mat. The pressing down lifts you up towards the sky. And then feel yourself firmly planted through the feet. Reach up with that right arm coming into warrior two. So the left foot points forward towards the top. Back foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Hips are square underneath the shoulders and the arms point out to the sides. Gaze is over that left middle finger. Inhale, reach the left arm up for peaceful warrior. Right arm can go down the back leg. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the hands around that front foot. Step it back to a plank position. Lower halfway or all the way, Chaturanga. Upward facing or Cobra. Hips go up and back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Sigh it out. 3 rounds of breath. Come high onto the toes, bend the knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sink weight back into the heels like you're sitting in a chair. Arms reach overhead. 1 breath. Exhale, rise up. Arms release. Tadasana. Once again, sitting back in our chair, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Step the right foot back, coming into our low lunge. Step the left foot back. Reach the right arm up and overhead for twisting lunge, offering the heart towards the sky. Really split the legs. They're pressing back through the heels of both the feet. And then bring the right arm down. Plant that back heel down so that the foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Readjust so that the knee is over the ankle. Reach the left arm towards the sky for side angle. You can always come up and bring that right forearm to the right thigh and reach up this way instead. You can also bring a block to the outside of the foot and lean on that. Couple rounds of breath, really opening into the hips here. And then with both feet firmly planted, rise up. The left arm leads you, coming back into our warrior 2 position. You can readjust, find a wider stance if that works for you. Really just take a look down at your front knee and make sure it's not tracking inward. Keep it pointing towards that outer right corner of your mat. And then drop the shoulders down gently. Gaze over that front middle finger. And then flip the front palm, reach up and back for peaceful warrior. 1 breath in. And cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot or flow through our vinyasa. So coming to plank, lowering halfway or all the way. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck the toes or roll over them for downward facing dog. Sigh it out. Can bring the knees down to the mat for a rest in tabletop. And we'll take thread the needle here. So reach the right arm up, opening up through the chest. And then taking the right hand, threading it underneath the left shoulder towards the mat, bringing the right ear down towards the mat. And then you can stay here or you can walk the left fingers forward. Also the option to lift the right leg back for a bit of balance. Pressing back through the left hand, reach the right arm up once again, and then coming back through neutral tabletop. Lift the left arm up, open the shoulder towards the sky, and then the left arm threads underneath the right. Left ear comes to the mat, and you can reach the right fingers forward. And once again, the option to lift that left leg for a bit of a challenge on your balance. And then we'll all come back to tabletop. You can take it to child's pose if you need a rest, or we'll continue with our flow, coming back into downward facing dog. So reach the right leg high for three-legged dog out behind you. Keep the hips square. Can bend this knee and then open the right hip towards the sky so that the left foot is now pointing towards, the right foot is pointing towards the left, really opening through that hip. And then bring the right knee towards the right elbow, coming forward, tapping it there. And then reaching it back out behind three-legged dog, bringing the knee towards the nose in between the hands, and then place that foot down for a low lunge. Now coming up, you can drop this back knee if you would prefer, or you can keep it lifted. We'll come up for high lunge. Reach the arms overhead. Feel your Uddiyana Bandha, that low belly lock, really engaging here to bring that left glute involvement so it wraps underneath. Everything is stacked and keeping you stable. And then we'll reach the right arm down, reach up and over with the left arm. Really feel that side body stretch. And then coming back through to center, opening up for a twisting lunge. So the right arm goes back, left arm comes forward. We open through the chest. And if it feels comfortable, you can hook that left elbow to the outside of the right knee and then bring the hands together at heart center, looking over the right shoulder. Breathing here, feeling strong through the legs. And then with really strong legs, we're going to open up into warrior two. So open up, lead with the left hand, plant that left foot, that left heel down, bending into the right leg, opening up for warrior two. And then you can straighten through this front leg, heel toe the back foot in a few inches, and leading with your right hand, begin to tip forward for Trikonasana, triangle pose. And then the right hand will fall either to the shin, the floor, or the foot. And you can reach that left arm up, opening you towards the sky, lifting through Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, through those core locks. Once again, pressing down through the feet is what lifts you up towards the sky. And then left arm leads you all the way up. Parallel the feet so that they're both facing forward. And then bring the hands to the back of the hips. Squeeze the shoulder blades, elbows back. Reach the heart forward for a gentle back bend. And then find your way to a wide-legged fold. You can bring the feet wider. You can sway the hips side to side. You can grab for one ankle, reaching the right arm towards the sky, and then you can walk your hands and reach for the other ankle. And then just settling at your depth. And then you can walk the hands over to the front of the mat to frame that front foot. And you can walk the right foot out just a touch so that it's towards the outer edge of the mat, and now the hands are on the inside of the foot. And then drop that back knee down and find lizard lunge. This might be enough for you to feel it in the hip. If not, you can come down to forearms. And if that feels good, you can begin to come onto the outer edge of that right foot, gently guiding the knee open, but making sure that we're still staying in integrity with our muscle joints. So just keeping that glute engaged, that right glute, engaging through the belly lock. And then coming back up onto the hands, planting that right foot down, tucking the back toes under and lifting the back leg. We're going to come up into a squat position. So you can keep the hands firmly planted. Keep that right foot really nice and down. We're going to bring our weight into the right foot as the left foot comes to the outer edge of the left hand. So on an inhale, we'll just step forward to the outer edge, and then you can sink the hips down as the hands come through heart center. This is a great place for a block, so if your spine is not straight from the crown down to the base, you can take a block and put it underneath your seat and sit here, and you'll still get a great hip opening. Otherwise, you'll keep the hips at whatever level you can keep them while still keeping the spine straight. So if that means you're here, that's fine. We'll just stay lifting through Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor, and through the inner arches of the feet. A few breaths here. And then you can plant the hands, lift the hips up, and heel to the feet so that they're hips with distance. Exhale. And then we're going to take Pada Gustasana, Yogi toe hold. So you can take the peace fingers, that's your pointer and your middle finger, wrap them around the big toes, and then halfway lift, flat spine, sit bones towards the sky. Exhale, fold over your legs, elbows splay out wide, using the strength of your arms, your shoulders, and your belly core lock, really hugging in to keep you draped over the thighs. Release the neck here, release the jaw. And then on an inhale, you can release the toes, heel toe the feet together, sink the hips back once again, sitting in your chair. One breath, hug the belly in, and then rise on up for Tadasana. So coming into a little balancing sequence, we're going to bring the feet about hips width distance apart. Ground yourself through the four corners of your feet, so evenly through the balls of the feet and the heels. And then bring your hands to your hips and begin to bring weight into the right foot, gentle bend in that right knee as you lift the left leg up so that it's parallel out in front of you at a 90-degree angle. You can stay here and use the right arm to grab for that outer left knee and begin to twist towards the left. If you think you can extend the leg all the way and grab for the big toe, that's also an option. We'll just open up towards our left side, press firmly through that right foot, and the gaze tracks over towards the left thumb. Breathing here. And then wherever you are, come back through center. Keep that leg extended in front of you or the knee. Bring the hands to the hips and begin to tip your weight forward as the leg comes back for airplane pose. So the leg shoots back behind you. As you form a T shape with your body, your arms go out behind, shoulder blades squeezing, palms face down. Left leg is lifting. A few breaths here. Find that evenness through the front of the body and the back body. And then keeping a gentle bend in that right leg, that standing leg, begin to step back with your left foot as slow as possible, coming into a lunge. Staying, your body is still in that same shape, so we're in airplane lunge now. Breathing here, palms face down. And then we're gonna still bring weight into that right foot, coming back into chair pose. So you're gonna bring weight into the right foot, left foot steps forward to meet the right, arms come overhead, one breath, and then we stand up tall, meeting in Tadasana. So you have the option to find your breath here in Tadasana, or we'll flow through a vinyasa to clear that side out. So inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, dive over the legs. Empty. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step or hop back. If you're hopping to Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Sigh it out. 3 rounds of breath. Come high onto the toes. Step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Sink back, reach up, chair pose, one breath. Exhale, rise up, hands by the waist, Tadasana. Step the feet hips width distance. And now we'll take that on the opposite side. So bringing weight into the right foot, bringing weight into the left foot, bring the hands to the hips, reach that right knee out in front of you, bringing it to a 90-degree angle. If you know that you want to take this version, you can go for it. Otherwise, you can grab the outer edge of this right foot or the right big toe. Extend the leg out in front of you, reach the right arm back, hug the belly in, and twist towards the back of the mat. We'll all come back through to center. Keep the leg extended or bent at the knee. And begin to tip forward, coming into airplane. So the right leg shoots back behind. The arms are by your sides, shoulder blades squeezing together. The right glute is keeping that leg lifted as the toes point down. We're strong through the belly. And then gently bending through that left leg, we'll slowly step it back into airplane lunge. Torso is coming forward over the thigh. We're squeezing the pinkies towards one another. And then bringing weight into the left foot, keeping that left knee bent, coming back into chair pose. So the right foot meets the left. Arms go up overhead, chair pose, one breath. And then we'll come up, meeting in Tadasana. Take a few rounds of breath here. Close the eyes down. Feel the heat that you've built. Now reach the arms overhead. We'll make our way back into downward facing dog. In whatever way you would like, vinyasa or just meeting in down dog. And now bringing the knees down, lowering all the way to the belly. Arms can come by the sides. We'll take a few back bends on the belly. So tops of the feet are pointing down. Tailbone is slightly tucked. We're coming first into Locust Pose. So the palms face down. The chin can stay tucked on the mat. And then squeezing the knees together and the feet together in one line of energy. We'll begin lifting through the chin, the chest, and then lift the feet off the mat. Arms reach back, and we're lifting for 3 breaths here. As hard and as high as you can go. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Lift the backs of the legs. We'll hold it here for 3, 2, fullest expression, and 1. Release everything down to the mat. You can bring the feet up and windshield wiper them back and forth. And then our next back bend will be Superman. So you have the option, of course, to take Locust once again. Otherwise, we'll bring the arms out in front of us. And just like it sounds, we'll be coming into a pose where we look like Superman. So you can begin by lifting the chin, the chest, then the arms, and then everything comes off the mat. Squeeze those glutes, squeeze the shoulders, press out through the hands and the feet. Really hold it all up, shoulders by the ears. We'll hold it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Lower it all down to the mat. Once again, windshield wipering the feet back and forth. And for our last back bend, you can take any of those variations, but I'll invite you to come into bow pose. So we're gonna bend at the knees here, feet are flexed. You can reach for the insides of the feet if you want if you feel your shoulders are open. Otherwise, you can grab for the outsides of the feet or the ankles. And then just begin with your chest down and feel just by reaching the feet back and pressing the feet or the ankles into the hands, how that automatically lifts through the chest. Then you can begin lifting through the knees, keeping them hips width distance, really squeezing the glutes, lifting the chest. Flex through those feet. We'll hold it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Lower it all down to the mat. Sway those hips left and right. And then we'll all press ourselves back to sit on our heels for a moment. Palms facing up. And then just sway side to side. And then bringing the feet out in front of you, we're going to take Shavasana. So you can really let those right toes go out to the right and then bring the inner edge of that right foot to the inside of the left thigh. If you want something a little deeper, you can take half lotus, so bringing the outer edge of the foot into the hip crease. And then we'll reach up with this right hand and the left hand, keeping the spine straight, flex through the left foot, and gently fold over that left foot. Finding the opening at any angle. Never pushing yourself. Keeping a straight spine and not stressing the low back by pulling yourself into an uncomfortable depth. A safe way to feel a little bit more sensation without tugging on the low back is to just flex that left foot a little more and to really lift the heel up and feel that in that left hamstring. And then rising back up, keeping the right leg where it is, and then just bringing the left foot to meet the right, coming into butterfly pose. You can bring the feet out in front of you a little more, keeping the sit bones grounded, reach tall, and then once again, fold forward. Rising back up, this time keeping the left foot where it was, extending the right leg long, and then just bring that left foot adjusting to the inner thigh, or if you want half lotus, bringing that foot to the inner edge of your right hip crease, reaching up overhead, hugging the belly in, and then slowly tipping the torso forward over that right leg. Coming back up through the center, you can extend both legs long and then stamp the feet down onto the mat and slowly bring the hands out in front of you, palms face towards the sky, and we'll lower to the mat vertebrae by vertebrae, hugging the belly in, keeping the core engaged, slowly lowering all the way down to our backs. And then hugging the knees into the chest, rolling a little side to side, massaging the low back. And then we'll stamp both feet down, keeping the right foot planted. Bring the left ankle on top of the right thigh to make a figure four. And then you can lift that right foot up. You can grab for the back of the thigh or the top of the right calf and then pull the legs in towards you, feeling the opening in the left hip. This could be enough. If you want more of an opening, you can extend the right leg long and just hug the right foot towards your face and just hug that left leg in. Wherever you are, plant the right foot back down and then plant the left foot over towards the right, coming into a twist. Extend that right leg long and then keeping the left shoulder planted. You can either extend this knee down to meet the mat, or you can keep the foot planted, feeling a nice open twist in the spine. And then coming back through the center, we'll plant the feet down. We'll take one back bend in between the sides. So coming into bridge pose. If wheel is in your practice, feel free to take it, but I'll cue bridge. So you should be able to feel the backs of the heels with the hands. You can press down through the feet. Knees are hips width distance apart. And then tucking the tailbone under just slightly. Begin to squeeze through the hamstrings and the glutes as you lift vertebrae by vertebrae off the mat. You can squeeze the shoulder blades together and even begin to tuck them underneath as you lift all the way up. Watching the belly rise and fall. Press through those feet like you're magnetizing your ankles towards your neck, and see how that really engages those glutes. Couple more breaths. Last breath, fullest expression. And lower slowly down to the mat. And then keeping that left foot planted, you can bring the right foot, the right ankle on top of the left thigh. And then you can once again grab for the back of the left thigh or the top of the left calf, and really hug both of the legs towards you. Figure 4 reclined pigeon. Keeping your toes flexed on the right foot. If you want more, you can wrap your arm around this right leg and just hold it there as you extend the left leg long, hugging that right foot towards you. And wherever you are, plant that left foot down, and then twisting towards your left, plant the right foot down, extend the left leg long, and really plant that right shoulder, twisting your torso. If you want more, you can also drop that right knee down, or you can just keep the foot planted. This is also a great place to put a cushion underneath the knee if this doesn't work in your body, or a block, really cushioning, finding absolute comfort. And then coming back through center, finding happy baby, so the knees come to the outer edges of the rib cage, feet point towards the sky, and then we grab for the outer edges of the feet, pressing down into each knee, bringing it closer down towards the rib cage. We can rock and sway side to side. Can extend one leg and then the other. And then hug the knees into the chest. Give them one last final squeeze. Everything flexing. And then finally releasing out long. Take up space on your mat. Feet flop towards the sides. Palms face up. I invite you to bring a blanket for underneath the head or to cover the eyes. Releasing all your tension. noticing the clearness, the spaciousness of your mind, of this moment. Just release in Shavasana, final rest. Bringing some movement back into the fingers and toes. I highly recommend that you stay in your Shavasana for another 3 to 5, 10, 15 minutes. But it is 5 o'clock, so I'll end our practice with a gentle joint Om. You can join me or chant silently. Take a deep breath in. Namaste, yogis. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.